good in history? Can we go over that?
I could be wooed.
Who's good, Dax?
Oh, we've had a lot of good folks.
Like, give me top 3 good.
Okay, so just leaders, or we're going scientists?
No, they have to be leaders because leaders are going to make the decisions.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy.
Yeah.
Took the bullet.
Teddy. Sickly boy. Got strong on a ranch. Came back and reinvented himself.
Right.
Finished the Panama Canal. It was impossible to do.
Kind of few people died in that one, right?
Thousands of people died. Yeah, like
not American. Not American.
No, yeah.
Those Panamanians.
Everyone took a run at that, and everyone quit.
And they just
Teddy's like, we're finishing this thing. I don't care how many Americans have to die of yellow fever.
Oh, was it Americans that died or the Panamanians?
Well, first there was I happen to have read The Path Between Two Seas, the McCullough book about this.
Okay.
First was the guy who dug the Suez Canal. He was everyone's favorite. He linked the East and Europe, and so
he's the best digger in the world.
Yes, and like we're going to send him over there.
That is tense, dude. Don't use that term again.
Digger.
Jesus Christ.
What happened?
Put the A
He's good at digging. He's good.
Oh gosh.
What are you doing right now?
I'm getting terrified. This is I inoculate myself to your canceling. I wasn't a part of that conversation. I was spraying Nicorette.
What you say?
Nicorette.
Calm down.
Landmines.
Okay, go.
I think you're giving yourself a breathalyzer. I was like, this guy is about sobriety. Dude. That's crazy.
I think the dude was French. Anyways, there was like a corporation that was formed in Europe. Tons of investors. They send the guy over. Everyone drops dead of yellow fever and typhoid fever and all this. They can't do it. The Atlantic and the Pacific are at 2 different heights. They got to go through all this land in South America. It's a disaster. People die. They pull out. It gets resurrected by someone else. And then ultimately, Teddy Roosevelt was like, we're going to finish this thing. And accomplish that. It's like the most harrowing project maybe we've done. So him. I would do 2 more, but I think
Martin
I'm taking
Luther
up too
King
much
Jr.?
time.
No, who else?
More than a leader.
Martin Luther King, we like that a lot, Jr.
Yeah, but he's not in power.
Yeah,
I'm talking
power,
about like you're in positions of power.
Like actual politicians.
What about Lincoln? You like
Of
Lincoln?
course, Abe Lincoln. You know one that doesn't get a lot of credit, and this comes from having read a book about him too, is Ulysses S. Grant.
I heard
Grant.
this.
Yeah.
I heard history
Grant.
kind of did him in a disservice.
Well, he was an interesting dude because he was at the same time an absolute idiot and a genius. So like he had fallen for every get rich quick scheme. He was like a terrible businessman. He had been great in maybe the Mexican-American War or something. And then just had come home and lost a bunch of money, and he was kind of a loser. And then he gets called back up to do this, and he has a great genius for military operations. But I think that the thing we think of Abraham Lincoln, of course, as we should, but really Reformation was like the period that was so untenable. So few people could have kept the country together post-Civil War. And he just did an impossible job of doing that. And yeah, he probably doesn't get enough credit. But then he left the White House and he again became insolvent and owed people money, and he was supported by benefactors. And yeah.
Well, was there no system for like presidents,
like a public speaking circuit?
No, like you know how they for NFL players they give you a little something when you're retired.
Oh, like the opposite of a signing bonus.
Yeah, a pension. Is there no pension for presidents back then?
I don't know if there was back then, because the Civil War was the first time. You know, the North started printing money. We had a first central bank. Like all this is new. So I doubt there was I don't even know that they paid presidents.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. They didn't have security, which is insane.
What do you mean they didn't have?
The Secret Service didn't come about until late in the game. We had a ton of presidents were shot before we were like, we should get some
guys over there,
bros with guns around this person.
Interesting.
Yeah, 1958 federal law that provides lifetime benefits to former presidents.
Way past Grant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 58.
But he was like, people did love him though. So he was taken care of by a bunch of people. But he was embarrassed and humiliated regularly.
Yeah, most powerful man in the land, and now you're Oh, God.
But if you want a guy to stand up on a boat while you're shooting at people and they're shooting at you and he's not going to sit down, he's going to keep yelling orders, Grant's your guy.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What are the stories
Never
about
ducked.
Grant? That
He just, every time he miraculously avoided getting shot when everyone else on the boat was shot around him, he just was always at the front lines. He was nuts and fearless.
at that time, wait a minute. At that time, if you were the head military commander, it was your responsibility to be at the front of the boat? You're
No,
not,
no,
like,
most
off to
of
the
them
side?
weren't. But his unique gift was like he was a guy who led by example, and he convinced the guys around him. He did not have the best strategy, but he had the kind of relentless, I'll go first, follow me. It was an infectious leader. He was the real dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what about Sherman?
I wish I knew more about Sherman. What, he invaded Africa with tanks?
Well, I know just
that's
Total
Patton.
War.
Yeah.
Oh.
Comes to
Sherman. This
Oh,
is
I
during
don't
the Civil
know.
War as well, where he was just like,
I'm thinking
enough
of the
this
Sherman
polite shit.
tank.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
is that named after him?
I don't know.
no idea.
Anyway,
I've exceeded my
your knowledge
historical knowledge.
on the
military
Civil
knowledge.
War.
Yeah.
Are you a
Yeah.
big history guy?
Accidentally, I have this all works backwards from I'm an insomniac, and over the many years of trying to figure out how to fall asleep, what I have figured out is a book on tape for me is ideal, but the book has to be boring enough. Like I tried Keith Richards' autobiography.
And you were up for days.
Oh my God, yeah. I was like, I will stay up for the next 6 days until this is done. So for me, these like dense historical books are perfect because I'm pretty interested in it, but then they lose me. The fucking Path Between Two Seas, you guys, it's 1,000 pages of construction and you know, pylons and the bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge book, same thing, McCullough.
Yeah.
You know, there's chapters and chapters about them being underwater.
Is that how you got into that Carlin history podcast? I forget what it's called.
Oh my God! Yes, hardcore history.
Yeah, I've heard him talk about that.
That motherfucker goes deep.
Yeah,
He'll do 9-10 hours.
Yeah.
Anything.